Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Day 2 of the Farmall Super M painting saga. At least enough to try and get a rolling chassis put together. We don't have everything clean for that tractor yet, but our goal right now is to get coverage on everything that it's going to take to get four wheels back on the ground. So, starting out the day by stirring the paint, the primer actually. I learned a lot of years ago that if you're going to paint a tractor, step number 1 of the day is to crack open the lid and stir that up and see what it looks like, because if you pop the lid and you find that it is expired, well, that's pretty much going to dictate the course of the rest of your day anyhow. So learn that lesson the hard way one time. Now, for this Super M, we're not going high grade on the paint. This is going to be a working tractor, and honestly, for working tractors, prefer this Van Sickle brand paint. It's not top of the line by any means. I'd say it's a mid-range as far as quality and as far as cost. With paint, you will get out of it what you put into it, i.e. you get what you pay for. So this is a flat red primer, 40671. That's a pretty close match to the type of primer that was on this International anyway, underneath the red top coat. Like I said, it will dry to a rather dull flat finish, but I like the fact that it's already red. That's going to help out with the top coat somewhat. And I thought about using some of my higher grade primer. I still got some of this DuPont Very Prime 615S. It's a self-etching 620S fast converter. That's the activator for it. The trouble is it's kind of a nasty green. I mixed this stuff up the other day, and I mean, I've got like 2/3 of a gallon of each. I could more than do this tractor. It's very high quality and it does a very, very good job. But the difference is this can will cost you in the $150 range, at least the last time I bought it. This one's $60. So like I said, we use this Van Sickle on that little Ford 8N that we've got around here, another working tractor. And honestly, I am not dissatisfied with the quality at all. It does a pretty good job. So that's what this one's going to get. I'm going to continue mixing the can here. We're just about good. We don't have any clumps on the bottom of the stick anymore. And pop the lid back on and we'll start stringing everything out next. Probably good right there. Well, it took us all morning. We got everything out here ready to paint. We have the cart out from underneath the back end, all those drawbar brackets off back here, and I got it standing on some legs at the front here too. So that's ready to go right there. Engine is out here. We have our little safety prop in place so that that can't drift down. We have an expanded steel mesh table full of some parts. We've got the heavy steel table with the bolster on it. Drag links right there. We have our boards full of our nuts, bolts, washers, all that little hardware stuff. Front axle right here. We're just going to paint it just like this, and it's sitting right on the ends of both of those bolts. So that's just a little bit of minor touch-up to do after we get that all covered, so that's no big deal. We've got some ladders set up here with some hanging rods for some various parts. We have, that's a little wire wreath frame that works really good for little minor parts like that. had the pedals hanging off this bar going between those two ladders. So we're just about ready to start spraying here. And then inside the shop here yet, we have a few other miscellaneous pieces that have to hang. So we will just keep rotating these out after I paint some of those that are hanging there. Senior will take those in. He'll bring the other ones out as I'm painting other things. We just keep the whole thing going that way. Show you some of the other things we have in place. Well, here's Senior's mixing stand. He sets up in the shade over here. He's got everything he's going to need to keep the gun filled. Over here we have, this is a Hobby Air supplied air system right here. It basically is just an air pump. Goes through this hose that we're following. You can get that plenty far out of the work area so that you're not breathing any fumes. Comes out the end of this one right here. Quick connect on the end. Hooks into this hood right here. Basically it just puts air pressure inside the hood. Keeps all the fumes out. You don't even smell fresh paint. So we got our air system set up from the big compressor way in the back corner. We run this blue hose all the way up here. I put an extra dryer in right here because this has had some moisture in it lately from all the humid weather we've had. This is my air dryer set up for painting. These have humongous cartridges you can replace. The reason why we have two of them plumbed together is before we had that big compressor in the back, we ran off of two smaller compressors to get the volume required for my gun. So each one fed a canister, and then it dries it, and then it comes out this red hose here. I just popped that auxiliary tank on to plug this other side because I didn't feel like taking that apart and retooling it this morning. This red hose is my dedicated painting hose. Only dry air ever gets pumped through this. That'll hook onto the gun, and then we'll start spraying. So I'm looking forward to at least getting all this stuff the same color. Senior back here doing the mix. You said we're going to do 8 parts primer to 1 part reducer, correct?
Yeah.
And then we're going to see how that sprays. That's what is written on the label. Usually that's pretty darn close. It just thins the primer out enough so that it comes out the gun and it leaves a nice smooth finish. You don't want it too thick. So it's got some graduated containers there, and carefully dipping out of the can so we don't put too much paint up on the ceiling area for the lid, right? This old gun runs these disposable bags. There's a little grommet down there in the bottom that you put on an installer tool and actually pokes a hole in the bottom of the bag, and it seals the base of the bag. So we will screen the paint through one of these mesh funnels that takes out any of the chunks, and then it fills the bag. Then you go and seal the bag up, and that way you can take the paint gun and tip it upside down and do whatever. It'll suck the air out of that bag so that you can paint however the gun is pointing. And back in like 2004 when I bought this gun, that was kind of state of the art. That's a little bit obsolete now because the new ones, the whole can is just a plastic disposable thing. You take the whole can off and throw it away, clean the rest of the gun, you pop a new can on next time you're ready to paint. So that's what the next paint gun's going to be. But I've been painting so little these last few years that we're going with this one. So well, there's the first batch going in the gun. We'll do a test spray with this, and we'll see how it works. See if we have to thin it out anymore or if it's good the way it is. Get every last drop out of it.
Makes less mess.
Alright, he'll seal that up and we're ready to go.
The first test spray we did on the inside of the side rails. Nobody can see that, but it looks like it turned out pretty good. And I think we'll go with our settings right there for now. As we get into it, we may have to do some fine tuning, but we'll do some spraying first. Here's Squatch is spraying all the nuts and bolts, trying to get them all touched up and stuff first with the primer. Got his safety stuff on. That thing really works good. You don't get any smell or anything, and totally protects you. Well, here's Squatch. We're getting started on the rear end assembly here. This is our second gun full of paint. The first gun, we did all the brake and clutch pedals, some of the side rails we got done, some miscellaneous here. We used it up on that piece there. Got the belt pulley assembly done. That's looking good. Got the steering bolster all done. That's looking good. Over here we got the nuts and bolts. Some of the nuts and washers will have to turn to get the other side yet. And over here, some more miscellaneous items. Most of this got to do with the cooling system, thermostat housing stuff. This is one of the brake assemblies here for actuating the brakes. So anyway, we're getting a good start. Things are going good. So we'll just keep her up and hopefully get this thing wrapped up in about another hour. Well, things coming along pretty good here. Had to do a little adjustment with our batch. We went to about 8 to 1 3/4. Seems to be spraying a lot better, and we dropped the air pressure on the gun a little bit. Says this batch is working a whole lot better. We were on some of the smooth surfaces. We were getting a little bit of orange peel look on some of the machine stuff here. She's going on really smooth, so I think we got everything under control to finish this job. Well, the top deck should finish up rear end housing. Here's the compressor running in the background here. Well, rear end housing done. Really amazing how the little bit of paint and primer can really change the look of things here. Squatch over here onto the engine, just about getting this wrapped up. Started at the top and going down. Again, looking pretty good here. I think we got our gun set really good. We had some sheet metal little tin stuff on the side there. Come out with a real nice smooth finish on that. So everything looks like it's working good, and probably one more cup full, maybe a little bit more, we'll have this thing finished up.
All right, we're done with the primer today. We got the rear end. Engine has been done. Everything on this bench, both sides, has been done. Bolster, water pump, distributor, hydraulic block, tube we're gonna make spacers out of, hardware, front end, governor hanging up right there. And we have some drawbar brackets here, brake lock, water pump ring. And then Senior had these old cast iron stand pieces right here that I sprayed just enough to finish off the batch that we had left in the gun, so I didn't have to throw any away. I only got part of this first one done. But that was, well, it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so a little over 2 hours worth of spraying here. And there's no time to waste. We need to get all this stuff rolled back in before the dew starts coming on. So we're gonna get busy on that right now. I shouldn't say that. First thing, clean the gun. All right, it's about 6 p.m. and got everything picked up. Had some supper, so things didn't go too badly today. We got everything back into the shop. Hang on. Seem to have some commotion over here. You get him, little Red. Yeah, you get him. Tell him how it goes. Yep, chase him out of there. There you go. Good job. Anyway, have to settle the squabbles from time to time. We've got everything moved back into the garage. So we just picked this whole grate with everything on it and hauled it right in here with the tractor, put it on the sawhorses, bolster back on the cart there. Everything pretty well rolled up out here except for the big metal table and some sawhorses there. We're going to pull all that back out tomorrow anyway. Put the front axle in here. Engine's suspended on the hoist. We have our shorter stop in there so it can't settle. Nuts, bolts, hardware, a bunch of stuff back there, a bunch of stuff on that cart right there, and a bunch more stuff hanging right here. So, oh, and I should also mention we just threw the cast iron wheel hubs back onto the axles back here and just rolled this thing in. Left the stands up here at the front. We'll just go and roll that back out in the morning and set back up and get ready to go. So kind of nice having that stuff all one color now. It looks a little less patchy, but yeah, that was day 2 of 3 of the painting. So tomorrow we're going to start throwing down the color. We should still have pretty good weather conditions for it. I actually took the day off of work tomorrow just to get the painting done. So we run the whole gauntlet again. Pretty much everything we did today, we're going to do tomorrow. And now I'm recording these. I'll have all 3 of these hopefully recorded before I ever upload the first one. And I can already hear people asking, because I've got this comment before, why don't you just set up a paint booth in here? Well, by seeing everything we have in here laid out, there's really not room anyway. And 2, I don't feel like hanging a bunch of plastic all around only to have everything still turn a shade of pink in here from all the overspray, because I don't care what you do, there's always overspray, there's always mist. So that's that. We still got some daylight out here. I still got a little bit of that storm damage from the day before yesterday to clean up. I might finish up the evening doing that, and then we'll get back into laying down some color tomorrow. Hope to see you back for that.